To members of the Women's Health Council and conference attendees, it is an honor to be speaking with you here today about this important issue. I want you to imagine a 12-year-old girl playing, laughing, smiling, enjoying her freedom, and then to come home to the words, useless, worthless. You are to find a husband and get married. What this message really translates to is, you are to be dependent on a husband. You are to be sexually and physically abused, even raped. You are to contract HIV and get pregnant and care for a child by the age of 15. You are not to speak of this and keep it to yourself. This, unfortunately, is a sad reality that many young girls face. Every year, 15 million girls are deprived of their sanctity, self-confidence, dignity, and a voice. This is equivalent to 28 girls a minute being victim to childhood marriage. Depriving a young girl of her dreams and education is a stolen life. Researchers East and Barber argue that high aspirations for education directly conflict to the demands of being a new parent. It is clear from this study that marriage deprives young girls of the human right to seek an education, become independent financially, and perpetuates gender inequality and poverty. Not only is childhood marriage a threat to human rights, it places a girl's life at risk. Girls under the age of 18 that give birth at a pubertal age have a higher chance of dying than a woman of childbearing age in her 20s. According to UNICEF, there are 70,000 maternal-related deaths. Not only that, 60% chance of an infant dying within the first year of life. If the child survives the birth, they are more likely to be low birth weight and have more physical and cognitive difficulties. Your Excellencies, it has been 36 years since the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, also known as CEDAW, 20 years from the Convention of the Rights of the Child and the Beijing Platform for Action. These international gatherings have brought the consequence of childhood marriage into the global spotlight. It has become a critical concern, yet nations are failing to protect their women and young girls from childhood marriage, marital rape, and sex slavery. Data from UNICEF in 2014 indicate that childhood marriage has decreased from 12 to 8% since the 80s. However, promising progress is slow and unequal. Childhood marriage is real and still continues to happen in today's world. Honorable guests and distinguished members of the Council, I urge you to consider these facts I have laid before you. Laws and legal consequences implemented by our nations are vital, but are not enough. It is a fact that childhood marriage perpetuates inequality and is a form of oppression at its best. It is a fact that childhood marriage is a violation of human rights. Some may argue that childhood marriage is deeply rooted, traditional, or is a social norm, which gives the perception that change is resilient or impossible. We know this does create hurdles and challenges, and change may seem bleak. However, change is possible. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I challenge you and urge your international leaders to implement the 3 E's: educate, empower, and eradicate. We know that education is deprived when girls are married at a young age. We need to work together to provide education as an opportunity to rise above poverty, gain status, and social worth. Secondly, empowering girls to find their voice and learn skills of assertion will allow them to have the freedom to choose who they want to marry, how many kids they want, and when to have kids. Lastly, we need to eradicate childhood marriage. This is not easily done through legal systems and law enforcement. Rather, it is done through shifting the focus and perspectives of community leaders and villagers. Childhood marriage prevents a country's economy from thriving and inhibits the potential and development of women in society. With adequate interventions and legal support in place, traditional and social perspectives can be transformed. I propose that childhood marriage be decreased by 50% by the year 2025 and eradicated by the year 2050. We must strongly consider the data and the evidence to encourage the honoring of basic human rights. Let us join together to portray childhood marriage as an abhorrent practice and to encourage nations to recognize the full potential of women, to respect and honor women and their rights. When you step out of this room, remember that 12-year-old girl playing tag with her friends. It is my hope that one day, 12-year-old girls all over the world will have the freedom to laugh, smile, and play without the fear of having their lives stolen from them. Thank you for your time.